Hello there, Mr. Sutton here, bringing you the Algebra 2 4-2 Part 2 homework solutions on multiplying polynomials. For this first problem, we just need to distribute 7x cubed to each of the terms in this parentheses. So 7x cubed times 5x squared, that's going to be 35x to the, we're going to add the exponent, so x to the fifth. And then we have 7x cubed times 3x, that's going to be 21x to the fourth, because we have 3 plus 1. And then 7x cubed times 1 is just 7x cubed. There's no like terms to combine at the end, so this is done. For this problem, to get started, we're going to distribute everything in the first parentheses to this whole second parentheses. So we've got 5x squared times negative 2x plus 3. Negative 4x times negative 2x plus 3, and 6 times negative 2x plus 3. Now we just have to go through and distribute on each of these individual situations and combine the like terms after that. So 5x squared times negative 2x is going to be negative 10x cubed. 5x squared times 3 is 15x squared. Negative 4x times negative 2x is 8x squared. Negative 4x times 3 gives us negative 12x. 6 times negative 2x is negative 12x. And 6 times 3 is 18. All right, so like terms. Let's see, there's only one of these negative, these x cubed terms. So this negative 10x cubed is just going to stay the way it is. And then there's two of these squared terms. 15 and 8 adds up to 23x squared. Negative 12x and negative 12x is negative 24x, and this 18 is just along for the ride. This problem is a whole lot of fun. To do this one, we need to distribute everything in the first parentheses to everything in the second parentheses. So because there's 3 things here and 3 things here, that's a total of 9 multiplications, 3 times 3, that we're going to end up doing when all is said and done. So let me just break things up a little bit. So we'll have this x squared times this whole second parentheses. I'll just rewrite all that. Minus 2x times the second parentheses. Minus 4 times the second parentheses. I don't have to rewrite all of this stuff. I could just use a bunch of lines to indicate where I'm multiplying. But I like doing it this way. It makes it easier to not lose anything. So distributing in each of these cases now, x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. X squared times negative 3x is negative 3x cubed. And then we have negative 5x squared. Next, this is going to be negative 2x to the third. Negative 2x times negative 3x is positive 6x squared. Negative 2x times negative 5 is positive 10x. And now we distribute this negative 4. So this is going to be negative 4x cubed, positive 12x, and negative 4 and negative 5 gives us positive 20. All right, time to go through and combine like terms. There's only one of these x to the fourths, so I'm just going to rewrite that. We have, let's see, a negative 3x cubed and a negative 2x cubed, and that's it. So that adds up to negative 5x cubed. Next up, we have these squares, so negative 5x squared and 6x squared would give me 1x squared, but we also have this negative 4x squared here. 1 minus 4 gives me negative 3x squared. Now for the x to the first powers, we have a 10x and a 12x, which adds up to 22x. And then finally, this 20, there's no other constant, so that stays the way it is. To multiply these 3 polynomials together, we really can only do one multiplication at a time. So I'm just going to multiply these first 2 together, simplify it, and then whatever we get, we'll multiply that by the x plus 4. So we have x times x is x squared. X times 2x, let me just write down my x squared here. X times 2x is, or 2 is 2x. This is negative 3x. Negative 3x plus 2x is going to be a negative 1x in the middle. I'm just going to do that simplification in my head. And then negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. All right, let me distribute this out now times the x plus 4. So I've got x squared times x plus 4 minus x times x plus 4 minus 6 times x plus 4. Going and distributing each of these, we have x cubed plus 4x squared minus x squared minus 4x minus 6x minus 24. And then combining these, we have an x cubed, and then let's see, these are going to combine to give me 3x squared. Negative 4x and negative 6x is negative 10x, and then the negative 24 is just there. To multiply these three binomials together, I'm going to first multiply these first two together, get an answer, and then multiply that by the last one. I can really only do one multiplication at a time here. So we've got 2x times x is going to be x squared. And then my next step is going to be a little bit of mental math here. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. In here we've got a 5x. 5x minus 4x gives me a plus 1x for that middle term. And then 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Now I'm going to multiply this first parentheses by the second one by distributing everything in there. So we have 2x squared times 3x plus 4 plus x times 3x plus 4 minus 10 times 3x plus 4. Distributing each of these individually, this first one we've got 6x to the third, and then multiplying by 4, that gives me 8x squared. Next up, this is going to be 3x squared plus 4x, and then finally we have negative 30x minus 40. Combining like terms, we only have one of these x cubed, so I'll just leave that the way it is. 8 and 3x squared adds up to 11x squared. 4x minus 30x is negative 26x, and then we have negative 40.